Hello and welcome to my channel, Cracked Open with Kristin. There's been a lot going on, and yet here we are on a Friday night together. Today is October 3rd, and I wasn't going to make this video tonight. I had plans to go celebrate, have a nice dinner with my best friend, and celebrate that I got my first yoga teaching job today for a studio. And I'm really excited. And something in me is been like poking at me, prodding at me to make this video for weeks. And I keep saying, I'll do it when the house is clean. I'll do it. I'll do it when I get back from yoga. That way I'm in the zone. And every single thing I do or say had an equally convincing reason why I shouldn't be making this video tonight. So I finally decided I'm not waiting for the taller desk. I'm not waiting for the perfect ring light. My desk light is just fine. In fact, I have really nice studio lighting that I got for Christmas last year that I just need to set aside time to set up. So I'm saying all of this to you to say those were all excuses to avoid doing the scary thing. So why am I doing the scary thing right now? Well, I watched my 21-year-old daughter have a really hard conversation. This is what my Zoom does. I don't know. It is universally, I'm sure there's a setting, but it is more fun for me to say it is universally controlled because that way fireworks were for my daughter having a really hard conversation last night that I was only privy to in and out of while I was getting ready for yoga. But as I was getting ready, I was like, please give my kid the confidence to stand in her truth. Because God knows I certainly didn't when I was her age. And not only did she stand in her truth, feet firmly planted, man, from her whole chest. That kid has more confidence in her pinky nail than I did in my whole body at her age. Not only did I observe her stating her truth and eloquently naming her needs, I witnessed the people she was encountering talking to her in a way that was so conducive. She showed up with confidence, which in turn led the people she was talking to lean into their safety. Whew, it was really powerful. And what it showed me is that's what I'm meant to be doing every single day on this channel. Yeah, it's fun to make movies and reels and tell funny stories. And yes, I love my sense of humor. That's not why I was born. I'm ready to talk to you about what I was born and placed on this earth at this time to do. So if you're still here, odds are either you super dig my new haircut and you just wanted to see the back. I'll show you. I love it too. Big changes happening around here. Or you're peeping my Halloween decor. It's been up since July 5th. That's how I roll. I have no apologies about that. In fact, I have no apologies about anything anymore. I am committed for the rest of my life. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, gods of Zoom. Zoom's higher power, whoever is in charge of all this, because I'm digging it. We're keeping it. It's like part of, if you do Zoom with me as a client or a student or now here, then it is part of how we do things. So part of my authenticity. I am no longer going to hide behind the very comfortable and well-loved Coach Kristin because if I limit myself to just the work that I do as a coach, then I'm ignoring my calling to be a doula. Then I'm ignoring my calling to help people find their true love. I'm not going into business to be a matchmaker. I'm not going into designing a dating app. I've been placed on this earth to help humans fall in love with a version of themselves that they were born to be, that they were placed on this earth at this time, 2025, to be. I thought that by helping people find freedom from alcohol or drugs or maladaptive behaviors or trauma, that I was doing that work. And yet there was a part of me that was still not fulfilled. And I was like, I'm answering all of the calls. Like I got a calling in 2016 to finish my degree and become a psychologist. And then that didn't work out. And I was devastated because I got into graduate school and I needed to go to graduate school to become a therapist, psychologist, clinical psychologist, researcher. I wanted anything that had to do with letters behind my name because that would validate my gift. So now I have to be honest with you about my gift. Yes, my gift is deep empathy. Yes, my gift is looking an addict or a survivor right in the eye and telling them, I know how to guide you because I've been there. That's probably one of my favorite gifts. But this gift I was born with, and I didn't realize it then. But my grandma did. My grandma did. My grandma Pat is my mom's mom. And when I was a little girl, in fact, this picture that I show all the time is taken in front of her house because I spent so much time there. I loved her, love her so much with such a special bond. And part of why we had such a special bond is because I could tell my grandma Pat anything and she accepted me no matter what. She never said I was crazy. She never said I was silly. In fact, she would play games with me and play make believe and help nurture this gift because she knew. I'm not sure what to call this. Maybe you can help me. What I know to be true is from, there's a few weird things here, so bear with me. If you've hung on this long, you're here for the journey. So, congratulations and thank you. This is really hard. I stopped and started this video about 13 times. And then what I finally came up with for me and my animal, Pixel, I don't know if you guys can see her. Pixie Poo. She's down there. Anyway, for us, that if I went through with this and was as brave as my daughter was yesterday, that I would go to Taco Bell. I know it's blasphemy for a yoga teacher to be talking about going to Taco Bell, but this yoga teacher is authentic. And that is what my human body is like. That would be really a good bribe because we haven't done that in a long time. And it's comfort food. And Zoom says yes. Maybe, maybe that Zoom is onto my gift. All right. The gift is, and if you've worked with me, you've told me this. And I just smiled and said, thank you. I didn't say that's because I am, because I didn't want to scare you. You've told me as my student or my client or my friend, Kristin, I feel like you're speaking directly to me, or I feel like you're reading my mind. When I was very little, I don't even know where I picked up the word. Maybe my grandma taught it to me so that I would have some context to put this in. That's likely what happened because she knew. She knew that I could feel people's energy. And I told her, this is exactly what I said. I can hear their inside voice. I was younger than this when I told her that. Meaning I can read their or hear or feel their emotions, thoughts, feelings. Do I think I'm psychic? I don't know. Do I think I'm channeling? I don't know. I do know that from a very young age, younger than that picture, so 4, I learned the word psychologist. And I would tell anybody that would listen, look back to when you're a little kid. What's the one thing people ask you when you're little? What do you want to be when you grow up? I always answered that as a hairdresser or a psychologist. Hairdressers, my daughter, my friend Wisty, would probably say they are the same thing. Just require different training and different little slightly different ways of reaching and being with your clients. However, to me, my aunt was a hairdresser. She talked to people all day long and she helped them. And a psychologist was someone who talked to people all day long and helped them. Now, my grandmother would nurture this idea in me. We would go around and we would go visit her friends and we'd go visit my aunt at the hair salon. And she would tell everybody, Kristin's never met a stranger. When you talk to her, she talks like a grown person. And I did. My neighbors were all like retired. When I was a little girl, I lived in a court in a very safe part of Northern California. And toddler age, 3, I would go to all the houses on the court and visit with all of our neighbors. And my mom was home. This was totally safe. This is the late 70s, totally different world. And the neighbors would tell my mom, we felt like we should offer Kristin coffee. Like, she's such a joy to come around this little tiny baby and carrying on full-blown conversations with us for all afternoon. When I was like in grade school, I would volunteer. I wasn't even employed. I volunteered to go to the convalescent hospital and play bingo with them, visit with them, ask them about their lives. My great grandma would come over. She was mean to everybody, not to me. Now, she never said she knew. I don't know if my grandma ever told her, but I do know my grandma didn't tell my mother. Hi, Mom, I know you're not home right now, so we can't have this conversation before I put it out into the world. Part of this gift is if you listen, your life becomes so much more enjoyable if you don't deny your gift. And this is hard to talk about. Shake it off for a second. Oh, kombucha. Kombucha in a glass with little hearts that my daughter got for me. I'm like, if we're doing this on the fly and putting this information out there, we're having all the love around us we can have. My favorite bracelets, my dog is in the chair right in front of me. This is hard. She never told me that something was wrong with me. She encouraged my gift. Tell me about your friends at school. Tell me about your neighbors. Tell me about the family next door. Like, she knew that I had the ability to learn about everybody because of my desire to help them. How I could help someone at 3 years old, I don't know. I knew I wanted to. I knew I wanted to. I just didn't know why. When I couldn't get into the master's program to go on to become a psychologist, I became a coach instead because I wanted to help people. And I wanted to help people specifically to find the best version of themselves. And one of the fastest ways of beginning that journey is by freeing yourself from addiction. That is what opened this gate of unconditional self-love and acceptance was my recovery journey. But this unconditional self-love and acceptance was only a journey that started about 2.5 years ago and then has been amplified over the past 6 months. and then massively 10x'd 10 times, however you want, 100 times, however you want to describe it in a way that makes sense for you. When I started believing in my worthiness, simultaneously, that journey took me into breath work called pranayama that I learned when I became a yoga student. Becoming a yoga student made me really hone in on my practice of meditation. I was not a meditator before this. That tuned me into the practice of Kundalini. Simultaneously, from March to today, I practice Kundalini every day on my own, and then at least 4 times a week with other humans who also have gifts. P.S. We all have gifts. It's just whether you're willing to notice or not. I happen to spend a lot of time with people who are willing to notice, and it is phenomenal. I really had to have my ego checked back in June because I was following this path and my coaching practice was falling apart. My personal life was falling apart. My finances had well fallen apart. And I thought that everything had collapsed. And what I didn't know then, that I've been able to connect all of the dots to today, is that that had to shake me free from what wasn't meant for me. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying my clients and my business and all of that were not meant for me. They are. The way that I was running my business, very little boundaries, very little consequences or adhering to normal service agreement stuff. I was extremely lax on a lot of that because I thought I was being very flexible and helpful. And what I realized today is I was kind of coddling my clients. And as a result, they weren't getting the results as fast as I was hoping, or they were hoping. And I actually had a client who I love and adore, and I can say him on here because he's been on here with me, kind of hold my feet to the fire this summer. And he's like, I like authentic Kristin way better than Coach Kristin. Thankfully, I knew what he meant. And so do I. Because authentic Kristin wears bright colors and Kundalini pants and puts up Halloween decorations in July and has a messy desk and doesn't have the perfect lighting and sound for perfect YouTube. And guess what? I'm not waiting anymore because I am ready to use my gifts, to use my knowledge and expertise in trauma and addiction, and to use my newly acquired knowledge in Kundalini and yoga and alchemizing and transmuting and energetically shifting from a victim. Everything's happening to me. I'm just going to stay in fight or flight. To Kristin, I'm doing the homework you assigned. And I'm starting to discover a part of myself that I completely forgot about. Trauma arrests our ability to develop our gifts. I had this gift as a little girl. When I was 6, I was abused for the first time. That abuse stole my childhood. From that point on, I was a sexualized female. From that point on, my quest was to get attention. 6 years old. My mom will tell you stories about getting gas, and I'm a little kid in the back seat, making sure the gas attendant notices me because I have my makeup on. That's not what normal 6-year-olds think about. When becoming sexualized took away my ability to be a little kid, I gave up on my gift. It wasn't safe to be me anymore. I didn't tell my grandma that I was abused for many years. I didn't tell my parents either for many years. I was 11 when I told everybody. And my grandma confided in me that she knew something had happened because I stopped playing imaginary. I stopped pretending I was a hairstylist. I stopped pretending I was a psychologist. I stopped pretending that the buttons in the button jar were magical. And it's took me 46 years to find that little girl pre-trauma and meet her and play with her and interact with her and bring her into who I am today. And to have children and a family and a partner who nurture that big, dreaming, highly imaginative, playful side of me. It's safe to be her now because I did the work and I learned how to have the most incredible, unconditional love and acceptance for myself like never before. And part of that love and acceptance for all of who I am means that I'm honest about what I was born here to do. Before I came on here to tell you all this, I wrote down a couple of things that, like, I don't need to prove this to anybody. Anybody who knew me when I was little can vouch for this. Um, what I do want to say is that if you feel like you have a gift that is unexpressed, stop waiting. Stop waiting. I'm not saying like go digging for like something to call a gift. We are all born innately with gifts. I'm not saying that whatever this higher consciousness is some gift bestowed on me. I'm saying we are all born with gifts, and it's through getting down to the bare bones, removing the ego, stripping old patterning and conditioning. And then that's where you, as you were born to be here, is. And that's what I had to do. And I think what happened this summer had to happen to show me that that is what I want to do with my life. Because I had the option to take a really well-paying 6-figure 9 to 5, full benefits, fabulous retirement, whole 9 yards, doing sales, which I'm amazing at. It would solve everything. I could pay off all my student loans, pay off my daughters, pay off my business debt. Like it would answer everything. You start next Wednesday. Turned it down. And instead of the 6-figure 9 to 5, I took a job working weekends in a restaurant again. Because I know with all my heart that I'm not meant to be selling construction materials, which, believe it or not, I'm capable of doing. I used to work for Milgard Windows. This was a really well-paying job that seemed like fit Kristin great. She already knows how to do the measurements and everything. And part of me was like, this answers everything. But I knew in my heart that that is not where I was meant to be. That my job was to share my truth with you here so that you can open your mind to, well, I love and trust Kristin, and I don't think she's losing her marbles. So maybe there's something to this unconditional self-love and acceptance after all. Maybe I'll listen to her. Maybe I'll think back to before my trauma happened, what gifts I had. Is there something to this? And then it is my goal that through hypnosis, somatic movement, coaching, trauma release, that I could be your doula. And if you're like, what the hell is that? That's okay. I got certified, fun fact, to be a doula, which is someone who helps women give birth, about 15 years ago when my kids were little, because I felt a calling and urge to help people give birth. I took it literally. And I was a good doula, except for the part about being on call for 2 weeks at a time didn't align with my life as a mom with 2 little kids. Otherwise, I probably would have done it for a really long time. I get now why I was called to do that. Partially because I love women and pregnant women and little babies, and watching women like give birth is one of the most miraculous things ever. Argue with me and I will die on that hill. And I wanted to be part of. It didn't align back then. I even wondered, maybe that is, but it wasn't. What I know to be true is that I am here to help usher you to give birth, whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. This language is the same. There's no gender in this language. To give birth to who you're meant to be. Gifts and all. Quirks and all. And to discover who you are without the trauma, without the programming, without the patterns. And it is only then that you get to experience the fullness of who you are. And when you can unlock that, like I'm pretty sure I have, everything falls into place and all the dots start to connect. It was really scary for me to come on here and say all of this because it is not curated. It's not edited. Zoom God says, hell yes to that. I really was going to spend time after filming this because we're going to do this every day. It may be 5 minutes, it may be 50. I don't know. I started the month of September answering every intuitive nudge that I received. My world has changed immensely as a result of doing so. October, I get to see how joyfully I can live. I get to see how authentic I get to come on here and have fun with you and laugh with you and cry with you and tell you stories that I'm no longer scared to tell you. I can't wait to come on here and share exciting things that I have coming up that I've been too afraid to say because I felt like I had to have everything in a row before I can put it out there to you. And I realize now, no, because if you don't get to see the messy middle, you won't see how I got from where I'm going to where I was the last time you saw me. And I feel like that journey, although very vulnerable, is extremely important. Also, it is my hope that we get to do this together and that some of you who have been on this journey longer than me, who've been doing Kundalini longer than me, who have been chanting and doing breath work longer than me, who have been plugged into the wiser, higher consciousness of themselves longer than me, can tell me, Kristin, I get it. One thing I know from 4 years of guiding people through addiction and teaching and holding workshops and weekly smart recovery classes is that connection is the antidote to addiction. In my experience, it's the antidote to everything. It's the antidote to loneliness. It's the antidote to isolation. It's the antidote to depression. It's the antidote to sluggishness. Getting out, move your body, connect with others that are like-minded. Connecting with others that are in alignment. This is not about politics. We're not going to go there here. When I say alignment, I mean values are in alignment. I can have values in alignment with a lot of humans if I take off my armor. Warriors are strong when they have a shield and armor. They're more protected. When that shield and armor are tools within themselves that they don't have to shroud themselves with and dim their shine, that's the kind of warrior I want to show up as. That's the kind of warrior I'm going to show up as. Protected and powerful, not guarded and covered. You'll see my light. I'm done dimming it. Some people can't stand it. I can feel it. And that's okay too. There's a lid for every pot. And if I'm not your lid, that's okay. I know I'm a lot to handle. That's part of my acceptance, part of this. I know my energy's big. And now it's okay because that's who I was born to be. And I can't wait to help you discover who you were born to be. So if this spoke to you and resonated with you or struck a chord with you, or you think I'm batshit crazy, I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear if anything that I said struck a chord with you, especially the remembrance. If you stayed this long, you deserve this little nugget. There's a very popular term in the self-help growth journey world, recovery world, called know yourself or know thyself. I get it now. I was always like, I don't get it. Like, know thyself. Sounds biblical. And I don't like biblical things. So I closed it off. Know thyself. That's a dumb name for a podcast. Sounds biblical. I'm not watching that. I'm glad I set down those old beliefs. There's a lot of stuff over my 48 years that I've learned that I thought I would shove aside because they triggered me, like praying. And I realize now the triggers were to put me in a place to learn and grow, to accept all the parts of myself, even the one that was afraid to pray, even the one that was afraid to meditate, even the one that was afraid to come on here and tell you that a lot of the time I can read your thoughts or feel them. So whatever that is, now you know. Act accordingly. Just kidding. And like I said, if you've been working with me, especially my people that have worked with me for years, they know this. We haven't put words to it necessarily, but they're aware and they're grateful for the gift. And I'm grateful for the gift. And I'm grateful that they trust me even before I fully explained how it is that I do the work that I do and why I'm so good at it. So pretty good at it. So this is another layer we're going to keep pulling back and uncovering. And the more I practice hypnosis and the more I slow down and go within and remember, hopefully I have more exciting things to talk about. There's a lot of magic going on around here, and I'm here for it. And I don't know that I want to call it magic anymore. It is magical. It's also very much in alignment. I've never been so in alignment in my life. And it's a lot of hard work until it isn't anymore. And then it just kind of takes a form where once you get to the point where you're like, I do really love myself, things kind of just fall into place after that. And some people attract the love of their life who equally loves themselves. Some people share their gift and they can help even more people because now the word's out there. We'll see. How about all of the above? From my lips to God's ears. Bet you never thought you'd hear me say that, did you? I love you. I love being on this journey with you. I love being authentic with you. I love that an hour has gone by and it felt like 10 minutes. That shows me I'm in the right place at the right time. And so are you. I'm really grateful to be here with you. We have a lot of fun stuff to do together. Bye for now.